Let's go!
Am I a casual, Max? Great question. And in my consideration, yes. Max, are you a casual? And in my opinion, absolutely. Absolutely, I'm a casual. But that's only because it comes with perspective. I am 100% a casual because I have been at a level in select games, not everything. I ain't no Justin Wong or Sonic Fox at all. In fact, I'm a pretty shit tournament player because I prioritize doing cool shit over doing the same thing that gets you the same exact result. I'm a pretty shit tournament player, but I've at least been at a point where, yeah, from my perspective, I know what it takes to actually be good at fighting games, to actually be good at this stuff, and the time and the investment that it takes. I know, like I legit understand. I'm not even talking about Tekken specifically. I'm talking about everything. Everything that I've played over the past 10 years, 10 plus years is legit that. What I'm here to promote to you is a question. If Max is saying that he's a casual, then what the hell is a casual? Other people that would look at Max say he's a casual and go like, well, of course he is. So clearly our interpretation of what this word means is very different. One side of a conversation is saying one thing, you're a casual. Another side is saying one thing, they're a casual. But they might mean two completely different things depending on the skill level of the person saying that and the skill level of this person saying that. That's exactly what I'm here to promote. I'm here to promote a concept that the term casual means very different things to very different people. And I have been blessed and burdened with perspective, and I've been around so many people from the absolute highest level directly involved in, no kidding, over the past 10 years, I've been directly involved with like 15 different FGCs, like involved with those games, talking with their players, understanding the patch notes, learning what's going on, seeing where things are developing, seeing how casual people are reacting, how high level people are reacting, to truly have an understanding of like how and what fighting games do to people and what their knowledge base is for things. I've said this time and time again, if you get somebody that asks you, hey, you know, is this game balanced? Then I know that, in my opinion, this person is a severe casual. Doesn't really understand how fighting games work to think that balance is the thing that makes fighting games good and or fun. That's the kind of perspective that I have over doing this stuff for so long. So what I'm gonna do here is make a graphic. We're gonna make a graphic really quick. I'm gonna figure out how we do this as we go through it to sort of promote the idea that the term casual means a very different thing to many different people depending on your skill level. So let's get into this. So let's start with a progress bar, new layer. Bam, let's make this white. And I'm just gonna go like this, bam, progress bar, okay? Let's just talk about this. So let's give the idea that like blue is super casual, right? From my perspective, people that are like actually make a casual with a fighting game, any fighting game, okay? So we can assume that a good big chunk of the people that engage with fighting games are in the blue, and they are, you know, for the most part, relatively just playing the game, checking things out, just kind of enjoy it every once in a while. Bought it because, hey, you know, the game is, right, the game is, you know, it does good graphics. To be honest, in my opinion, this is much bigger. This is Max's baseline understanding of what a casual actually is. Here's the first bar for a casual. Bam. So let's also make let's not make this too complicated. Let's make a green bar that represents the next level, where it's like, oh, okay, maybe you're actually pretty decent at the game and you understand the game's mechanics and you actually properly utilize the mechanics. Like, yeah, okay. Then to me, like, you're sort of intermediate. That can be promoted as kind of like an intermediate level. You get it. Like, novice is a good way of putting it. Let's put that novice, right? You're novice. You understand how the game even works, okay? And to be real, I think this is skewing, in my personal opinion, a little bit different. So let's do here. I'm probably going to do something like that. Feels about right. Casuals and intermediates. None of these people will get anywhere close to a top 64 in like a big tournament, right? None of these people have a goddamn chance against people that are like in the higher bracket of this level. They stand no chance, you know? So let's start making some more adjustments here. We're getting close to like the end of this bar, but believe it or not, we have a lot more to go. Let's do a yellow, and the yellow is going to represent actual, say this is novice. Now we actually get to intermediates. How do I know this? Well, this is actually where I consider myself. And that lines up because in the majority of games that I've played where I've actually focused on rank, by comparison, in that rank where I lie is usually in like the top 10%. Around the quote, actually, no, that's wrong. It's usually like the top 1 to 5%. So it's even more, but still I consider myself in this spot, right? This is where my personal reference lies here. Here's what's crazy. We got to get in here, bro. Let's start doing this. Let's do it here. Then we're going to go to an orange and we're going to go here to here. Bam. These are some no lifers, right? These are people that play this shit almost every single day given the opportunity. There's not many other games they play. This is kind of the game that they just play, you know? For I just cram this game, I'm good at this shit. I've got 1,000 to 2,000 hours in Tekken. It's only been out for a year. To me, this represents you're an advanced player. You're pretty good at the game. Let's actually make a quick little line. We're gonna get in here now. Oh boy, we out here. The last bit is the red bit, and this is truly competitive. What is the best term for this? What can we use? Let's just use pro. This is my Max's interpretation. Let's label this one my interpretation, the Max interpretation. Visual representation of what I feel sort of represents casuals, novices to intermediate players to advanced players. This isn't just the people that are like only playing the game online. This sort of represents like the majority of people that engage and purchase fighting games, just in general. To me, this is the way I see it. This is the way my ass sees this stuff and how people relate to fighting games and engage with them. The very large majority of people that play this, I'm probably being pretty generous with this, in my opinion, are casuals. Buy the game either to play it, they really don't have much engagement with it. The faster you smash buttons of your face on the controller is the quicker and more damage you do, and I win. These are the people that look at competitive fighting games and just assume that these players are hitting the buttons quicker and faster. That's how they got that place. That's how they win. They're the ones that look at Street Fighter 4 coming out and they're like, bro, I'm going to quit my job and we are going to become competitive Street Fighter players, right? This is the point of the conversation that we are eventually getting to. What I'm proposing is that this is the way I sort of see things. We have casual players that are just playing and sort of acting like, I would say, tourists. They are just looking for a game that might be cool, that seems cool, have no inclinations of where they're going to go, how it's going to affect them, all that kind of stuff. These people, I don't even think it's fair to call them casuals. I think they are mostly tourists, and that's completely fine. To be real, the majority of the reason why we even have fighting games, why we even have fighting games continuing, is because fighting game tourism exists and people are willing to spend $50 to $60 to $70 for their tourism. And that's a very good thing. In the past, that was a lot different with arcades, because with arcades, you can pay very little to be a tourist. It was like 25 to 50 cents. In my opinion, where do I lie? At times, I would say that the furthest I've ever actually been at any fighting game, to a certain degree, is the highest level I've been was KI, because there was obviously not nearly as big of a community. So I might actually consider myself pro in KI because I won quite a bit of money. I would win locals that were stacked with at least decent players somewhat, and place relatively high in majors where a lot of people were there. But that, once again, this is also an interpretive thing. There wasn't that many people. If you have like a 50 to 60 person bracket, that's much different than a game that has 1,000 people, you know what I mean? So I would consider myself at the lower end of a pro for something like KI. And that was nice, but it can only last for like one season. And in cases of other games that I absolutely love, dude, I put myself in third strike around advanced to intermediate. Maybe way back in the day, I would consider myself advanced, but nowhere near as good as a pro. Mostly a lie around intermediate right now, you know, all things considered. So to me, this is where I kind of lie on the majority of fighting games now. I'm an intermediate. I'm like way down this graph, but not occupying the very end of it. And that's my personal take. Now, I'm gonna flip this on its head. Let's take this graph. This is to somebody that's at the absolute highest level of fighting games nowadays. We're pretty much talking like Punk in Street Fighter 6. We're talking about like Knee in Tekken 8. People that are sort of at their prime and the highest regards of where these games are at. And we need to reset the graph. I think this gets a bit closer to, in terms of how pros look. This actually is probably even higher than that, of people that are quote unquote casuals and tourists. They'll see people that even understand how to play the game. No kidding. They'll be deemed casuals. Talk about those kind of people as being like casuals and tourists. Their perspective is so vastly different because they're playing the game at this level that is so above, and they've invested so much time that from their perspective, dude, the majority of people that are engaging with these games are here, and then we have to start like relegating these to different spots. Starts to get closer to this. Like, damn, dude. The amount of people that are actually good at this game from a pro's perspective is way different. Like, way different than what somebody like myself even has a perspective of what casuals could be. Let's talk about the final side of this. Let's talk about the final side. The final side of this, the thing we talked about earlier, Max, my dude, if you think of yourself being a casual, someone that has the perspective of what it takes to be high level advanced and a pro of a game, if I know what it takes to get there, and you're considering this many people to be casuals and even yourself to be an intermediate / casual, my perspective of what a casual is very different. To me, most intermediate players are casuals. That's how different we're talking here. To me, most people that are in this yellow area are kind of here just to have fun and do some fun shit. We have some perspective. We're just hanging out. We're playing stuff. I am not going to do the most optimized things all of a sudden. I don't have that much practice or experience, but we're just jumping in. The perspective and skill level has changed. It's completely changed. So in my spot, I'm considering myself like an intermediate, but to many other people, especially what would be an actual like casual, this can seem daunting. Like if Max is saying he's all the way down here, then I must be negative and reversed in this graph, my dude. I must be like all the way down here. What the hell's going on? Let's make a casuals graph. Let's see if we can come up with something that makes sense here. And we're just doing this on the fly. There's no real science that's going into this. This is a loose visual representation. What certain skill levels could feel is very different from one to another in terms of who's like actually a casual and who is legit good. To a casual, a novice seems like a god. I've watched people that are pros at other games and they'll go into a certain game. Let's just use Tekken as an example. The people that are in blue ranks, if you're not familiar with Tekken, even if you're a pro at another game, seem like gods. They seem so good. Like, what the hell? From that perspective of like a legit person that's just, I even have fighting game experience, dude, but a blue rank, what the fuck? I can't even touch this motherfucker. What do I even do? And that's talking from like a pro's perspective as they turn into a casual. From the casual perspective, the amount of people that are like actually casual feel like this. Yeah, when you're a casual and you're looking at the space around you, legit, you think that most people are way better. I think this is accurate. In fact, I think this should be, from a casual's perspective, it's like this, dude. It feels like so many people are intermediate. The majority of people that play this are just god tier. I'm just jumping into this Marvel vs. Capcom arcade collection, man, and I can't even touch these motherfuckers. And to my eyes, I look at them, that's a bad MSP. They actually are just hitting shit and just getting away with murder. So my perspective of what is there is coming from up here, while they're just like, Jesus, these people are gods. This is what it feels like from the casual perspective. So much so that I think like the amount of people that are also advanced widely gets bigger. We're like, God damn, there's so many of these people. And I think figuring out like what's a pro, like, dude, these people can be pros. All of a sudden, pros could be this big. To benefit my argument in this situation, from a casual's perspective, and this is lining up exactly with what I said before, people watch my stream and me play the majority of these games and they're like, it is unbelievable how good Max is at fighting games. How could he say he's a quote unquote casual? Because my perspective of what a casual is very different, right? I do not consider myself to be like a tourist, you know, but many people propagate myself in being like at this pro level. And I have to remind you, no, I'm not that. I'm not even advanced in any fighting game over the past 10 years, dude. I'm not even close to advanced. I hover right around this spot. And that starts to make sense because from a casual's perspective, where is Max? Right here. This looks like I would be a pro to somebody like that. It looks like I would be in that situation because their perspective of what a casual is totally different than what my perspective of what like a casual is. Completely different. I appreciate the compliments. I'm not trying to hoist myself on a pedestal. I'm saying the term casual is so loose. A lot of people are talking about casuals in fighting games now and the appeal towards casuals. Many people are now looking, dude, Tekken 8 is just for casuals. You mean for this? We're saying Tekken 8 and the way it's being balanced now is for this? No, dude. This blue spot is literally CG endings in story mode. This is every character has a CG ending. We have a story mode where you're on a meteor and you grow into an angel and you fight your devil dad. And to be real, all the other training mode shit and teaching tutorials, those are for like novices. That's for these people to eventually learn. You don't just smash your face against the buttons of a fighting game and win more than the other people. Those are for novices, dude. What I'm promoting right now is that, especially in the Tekken 8 argument, where everyone was arguing, dude, this patch is for casuals. No, dude, this patch is for me. This patch is for intermediate players who feel like I can't do anything against people of higher skill because they just have so much game knowledge. Maybe trying to balance the game in this way. It's for like the top 10% of people that have put in quite a few hours over the past year, 200+ hour casual, because to me, yeah, that isn't a lot of time, but to this people, damn, 200 hours, you're a fucking pro. What the shit, dude? Jesus, you must be winning like, mate, you must be going to like Korea and beating all the best players and shit. The perspective has completely changed, right? Everything has changed based on the way we're talking about what a casual player actually is. All I'm saying is that this term means different things to different people. What a casual is perspectively to me, as it is to pros, as it is to actual casuals. But I think this graph right here is much closer a representation of an intermediate player. From an intermediate player, you have a pretty decent example of you know why you suck. You know that you need more time. You know that you guys have to spend more time in this game. You need to go out, you need to play more, you need to find more opponents, you need to find better players. This is also the hardest point to break. This is like you first starting working out and you got all your newbie gains and it's like, damn, I'm strong. Look at me, I'm so strong. I'm out here, dude. We're learning shit. And then you like hard stop and you're like, bro, what happened? And you realize that stuff that you're doing actually isn't enough. You can't keep doing the exact same thing over and over again. You need to graduate. You got to get up there and you have to make your way towards the next level. You got to go to college now. Intermediate players kind of understand that. And this can be very frustrating for a lot of people. This is especially frustrating for me because I know this. I know that this is what it takes. And the only answer is to go find help and to go seek answers and to also invest a shit ton of time, which is why I'm also have learned, and this was a difficult thing for me to understand, I have learned to be happy with being an intermediate. I have learned to be comfortable with my space around this spot, knowing that, yes, if I really want to dedicate and I really want to try, the coaching helps because that was the whole idea of FDX coaching me. Coach me to a point where I can understand things quicker because I don't have the time, dude. From that perspective, man, I'm just saying, casuals mean different things to the different player base. Depending on your experience with a fighting game, what seems like is a professional player can be daunting to an actual casual, somebody that's first getting in and like, you know, understanding how things work. And to be real, I think this is unfair. I think calling casuals tourists is kind of unfair because let's just say a casual is somebody that likes this game and I'm just going to continue to play it. And you're trying to get to this gold rank, which is right around this novice thing. You know what I mean? Like silver, you're out here trying. And it's like, okay, yeah, I'm trying to do my best to get to a spot where I'm even a novice. You know what I mean? So to me, like, yeah, saying that those players are tourists, in fact, we could probably add a whole other like bar to this. That is tourists, you know? Tourists might not even finish the goddamn story mode. The majority of people that engage with NRS and Mortal Kombat games are tourists. They are. They're there just for the beginning of the game, just for the launch of maybe something, and they are there just to engage with that content and maybe never even try online. I don't even want to play online. I'm not interested in playing online. And to be real, that's also unfair because some tourists in fighting games know how they work. They know how they play. They don't want to fight people. That's also okay. That's also a thing that is like a thing that exists. So again, what we're already doing just through the introspection that my list is fucked up. We can already even come to this conclusion that of just discussing this in this moment with a little bit of introspection, my list is fucked up. What I'm trying to say is that lumping novices and advanced players and intermediates under like a generic casual thing is not helpful. Understanding what casual actually is for a fighting game is pretty necessary. What do you mean by casual? Do you mean by people that are just gonna buy it because the visuals are good? That they might eventually become a novice? Or are we talking somebody that is just like window shopping and they see the cover? Like, what are we actually talking about here? Because everybody that's beyond this spot of like novice to intermediate has already invested quite a bit of time. and they're trying to learn shit and they're trying to get better. That's the whole point of this. And I think we literally proved it while talking about it, that the perspective of casuals changes. It changed in the making of this video, because now there's another thing that I would add into this that makes a bit more sense, which is legit tourism. Somebody that's just there to investigate the game for that reason and almost has no inclination to continue in any way whatsoever. It's been frustrating, like watching everybody just throw this term around and assuming it means the same thing to one person as it does to another, when it can mean a vastly different thing depending on your skill level and time. I'm just gonna humor this, man. If I was to quickly just repurpose this shit all of a sudden, if tourism is a white bar, and then you have actual casuals, people that are like trying to get better, we're trying to learn how to play the game. And then we have novices, people that are playing the game and are like actively ranking up and engaging with the game's mechanics and shit. So to be real, if we're talking like without my perspective and we're getting to a point where it's like maybe a bit more like reality. What about someone who's just good for most fighting games? Dude, if you're good, you're a novice. Good to me means you know how the game's mechanics work. And this is, again, you're asking from my perspective. What makes you good at a fighting game? Just like generally good. You kind of know how the game works, dude. And you're able to apply those mechanics in situations that you need to and use them appropriately. I've added another aspect to the list based on us just making this list, and my opinion has already changed. We brought the term tourist back, which are just people that are just investigating and they have no clue, no inclination. Play it for 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 1 hour, 2 hours. There's no idea, right? The commitment is not made at the start. 75% of the people that buy these games are tourists. I hope this makes sense. I hope I'm not here trying to belittle pros or belittle tourists. These people and these people or even the goddamn reason we have Evo, or even the goddamn reason we have tournaments. They're the whole reason that we get sequels to fighting games. If we have games that only appeal to this spot, where a game will sell a maximum of like maybe 100,000 copies, yeah, tourists literally make the world go round, and there's nothing wrong for being somebody that just wants to check shit out. Yeah, I think this is a bit better. I think this lines up a bit more the perspective of what a casual is. Because even with me, man, I wasn't even thinking of like, I was lumping casuals and tourists together.